All right, music off. So I think let me start the. Okay, so let me start sharing on today. Okay. All right. So for now, we have a few people coming in on also on YouTube. Also start. So for today, I'm going to start with sharing a bit. So the section is going to be recorded. So wait, let me start the recording as well, so that other people can also join. All right, good. So let me start sharing my screen so that we can start on today. So hey, so we have a few people. So hey Beiju, hey Scorpio, hey Mr. PC Man, and also for hey like people later that are going to watch it over YouTube as well. So for today we are going to talk about the office hour 37, 38. So the main topic is also on the Openclaw, but we also make some progress in terms of like in AgenticFlow. So we will also go into to that first, and then we go to the main topic, which is Openclaw. And also, to have the call with me today, I'm having a special guest, which I'm going to introduce you later, so that you can also have a discussion. The major topic that we will try to talk about this, PROR, is that actually it is going to open source, but I'm coming back to it later. Okay, so let's talk about AgenticFlow. If you would like to check on what's new in AgenticFlow, you can go to our channel log. So for today, we are actually doing some improvement in terms of like UI UX improvement to fix some of the syntax and markdown on this one. And we're also having a good news for you is that for the this one, the free Ishi Pro lifetime on launch part is we're having the due date of the 31 of January in 2026. Some of you, I know that you are missing this windows of open. So what we are designing to do is we are going to mark generation all of these ones for you. Okay, so what I would like to share today is first one is on this one, the VIP code claim is going to be VIP code. So it will expire, but we would like to we will regenerate all remaining VIP code for customer that not yet redeem in batch. So this one is going to be done within this week. So we will allow you that to have the code open on this one. And secondly, for the other customer that already redeemed on this one, so previously you have like the code that from redeem plus 60 days. So it means it's maximum at March 31st of 2026. So we would like to offer you also a gift as well. You can regenerate the seed code that not used to have a new date towards April 30, 2026. So it gives you another month to use the code, and also we will have you to break the code to smaller one-time redeem code, so that you can actually so that you can like give it to more people without like having a big code on this one. So that is the VIP code for Ishi license. Okay, And over the week, we also working on some other part as well. But currently, it is currently in development, so not able to show it today. But I'm going to show it further. But majority of the development effort is spending on stabilizing on the platform and also doing the refactoring. So that's why you can see that there's some issue during the week in terms of like saving the agent editor. Actually, because we would like to revamping that area in order to make it more stable and ensure that it is working well as expected. After the agent, we will move to multi-agent system to revamp the engine as well in order to make sure this is smooth. So that is going to be shown with you in the week after next week. Okay. The next one I would like to talk about is we are going to have a Lunar New Year holiday. Okay. So this one is kind of like special New Year in Vietnam. Okay, in Vietnam. So we are coming into that, and this is kind of like a Tet holiday when we have festival and so on. So the official calendar is wait, it's calendar 2026. Let me give that. So it's going to be on the 17th of February, so which is the week after next week. So which means we are going to take the entire week off during that week. So it's going to be on this one. So from the 14th until the 20th of February. So it means the week of like between 16 and 22, we will off. So that's why there will be a window down period on this one, and the office hour on that week is going to be also been canceled as well. We will resume the operation after the office, which is on the 23rd of February. Okay, let me put that one as well. Office close. Close between Feb 16 to Feb 20. Back to work on February 23rd. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it on the two announcements that I would like to share now on today. So let me go back to Discord if any other have question. Oh, are you able to hear my voice, Scorpio or Ujik or Maxell? Can someone hear me? Oh, on Discord, on YouTube. Let me share on that as well. Yes, sorry. I forgot about that. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. So thanks. We have more people now. So we have Yurik and also we have Biju and some other. So let's talk about the main topic of today. Okay. So there's only two announcements that I would like to share. So I would like to assure you that we are still working hard on AgenticFlow, and we're also making some improvement in stability and so on. And for next one, I would like to talk about the main topic, which is Openclaw. So Openclaw actually this is the name of like this one. So this was we were talking about this one when during office hour 35, we are going to talk about not office hour 25, maybe 36. No, 37. Okay. During the 37, which is last week, only 1 week ago, I was talking about Clawbot. So they have the rename. So actually, Clawbot is becoming, okay, Clawbot now renamed to Openclaw. And it was doing some of the part, and we also talking about this one in this one, and we plan to make like Ishi to evolve in a version that we can have with Openclaw, and we can work with our internet and control open hour and so on. And for during this week, actually, we also seeing there's a major difference that have been changed. So during the week, Openclaw is rising. You can see this red line, they're going up a lot on this area. So this picture is only 100 thousand, but actually it's already 150,000 star in GitHub. So this actually a lot, and especially so a lot in 1 week. So as you can see in here, there's a lot of like project, even Linus, which is the blue line in this one. It take maybe 8 years to reach the same level with Openclaw. Okay, so Linus take 8 years to take to reach around 100k star. Openclaw did that in 1 week. So from my perspective, this is another ChatGPT moment in AI. And if you notice about this one and you search on the internet, you will see that there's a lot of article that people are talking about on Openclaw. Just search about this one. So you have a lot of people maybe just talk about CloudBot. Okay, it's on CNBC, TechFlow, Mashable, everything. So everyone is talking about this one and on this one because it's kind of like a massive improvement on this one, and it's creating new opportunity, and it's creating a new frontier. And one of the interesting project is about Monbook. Monbook is also all around the internet. So actually, those are the Openclaw AI agent, but they are forming as a social network. And let's see what is BBC talking about them. Okay, so they are having an okay, they're not talking much on this one. Let me see what on BBC is. It. No, not this one. But what does it mean? So let me just go directly to the website. Okay. Monbook is kind of like a front page of the AI agent internet. It's actually a vibe coding project, actually, but it's a simulation of this area where we have um, the AI agent actually come into stage and they talk to each other, and they are even like having the ranking of the people. And there's a people which is Andre Kapati. He's a kind of like a founding member of like OpenAI. He's actually joining the platform, and actually from that moment he joined the platform, it is skyrocketing the adoption of Openclaw agent and so on, and a lot of hype around this area. And this, to be honest, at the moment, this is still hype when people is talking about AI agent with Openclaw and so on. But technically, I believe that this is a signal where the consumer behavior is changing, and that's why I believe that we need to be seriously thinking about like how we can leverage this capability of AI agent and how we can integrate that into AgenticFlow ecosystem safely, and we can even like taking advantage about what they good, but we are not like blindly using them in a way that not safe. And talking about safe, this is the reason why I have a very special guest today that going to join us from this. And I would like to switch back to our here so that you can also see. So I would like to share. So we have Vincent Sullivan. He's a founder and CEO of the Warden Secure, so which is the security corp, and he is building the flagship zero trust platform for ransomware prevention. And he has like years of experience in security, and also he's very interested in the topic that we are talking about today, which is on the open claw and related. And his depth expertise in security and building for the project for big client and enterprise, I would be believing that giving the community a bit of like understanding of how everything works together, and what his view on the trend of, uh, of AI in this area. So I would like to yeah, so I would like to switch back so that we can invite Vincent on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to put in here. Okay, okay, so Vincent, I'm going to put you on the stage. Yeah, maybe you can mute on the Discord. You can disconnect from Discord as well. Yeah, I think people can see you, but maybe you should disconnect your Discord account. Yeah, I can hear you. Really, really.
That documentation. I just wanted to get this article out there. I'll get the links to the specific events that I'm quoting for resources for folks, but they're actually doing this. And so there's a lot of those types of things that are happening. The risk is because it has total control of your system, right? That's what people are giving it to. They're giving access to everything, all their documents, their the system itself, the hardware controls, everything that it can do to kind of, initiate that, right? So when you look at that, from an autonomy perspective, right, this is not a chatbot, right? It owns and has actions, and we've got to kind of limit that. And emergent failures are happening, memory poisoning can happen. Also, people are talking about context windows not necessarily being there either, so it's losing memory. I think one of them ordered food for its owner, because the owner said that he usually eats around this time. So the bot was trying to be helpful and ordered DoorDash with a stolen credit card.
Cool.
So there's all sorts of those types of things, right? And so kind of what I'm trying to come in with AI Safe 2, and I talked with Sean a couple of weeks ago, was to try to get kind of a skills piece to address the memory aspect of things. But then this is before Openclaw took off, like we were talking. I wanted to get this into AgenticFlow for all of you building workflows from a foundational perspective. I wanted to get it into Ishi because I kind of knew something was going to happen there. I had no clue Openclaw was going to blow up in a week. So I really had to dive hard into Openclaw to figure out what was going on there, so I could peel that back. And then as I was diving into that, I was sharing a lot of information with Sean in terms of what I was finding. And I'll try to get into some of that stuff here, but a lot of this is in that article. So really trying to focus on the memory control, then the gateway aspects that Sean has talked about in terms of how information moves between Ishi or an Openclaw, how it gets out, how it enables the agents. And then I realized then there's leaks, right? So APIs, security documents, emails, or everything else that can happen to a system that leaks. You've got to look at that infrastructure, right? So we've got to look at it from kind of the memory, kind of being the internal side of that, kind of its infrastructure itself or whatever, the gateway, and then the network, right? So it's kind of a three-pillared aspect of things. And so really trying to dive into that. But, what is it doing? Right? I kind of mentioned, it's completely exposed. Social media, there's instances of it spamming, 10,000 type of events out there, right? Memory issues, and then kind of really trying to harden it down below. And that's what I'm trying to do with AI Safe 2, is try to get into that from that perspective. So one of the first things that I did was that I started to develop a security guide for Openclaw, so that folks could start trying to secure that. And so that's kind of where I focused on the 3-tool aspect. I think we kind of understand kind of why it matters in terms of risk and what we need to defend. Kind of the 3-layered approach to try to get after things. But this is a visualator I was kind of trying to describe earlier, right? With the 3 tiers of defense: the memory, the vulnerability scanner, trying to look at what vulnerabilities you have on your system itself, is that second rung, and then the control gateway, adding to that infrastructure, and AI Safe 2 being there throughout. So scanning, looking for vulnerabilities, giving you a gateway, a dedicated gateway, so it's on top of everything and outside of the Openclaw itself, and then a skill inside of it so that it's helping as it's trying to do things, not do stupid stuff, not break your rules, your guidelines, your guardrails that you want to put in place for your specific event. Now, a lot of the folks out there are trying to hype it up, right, and tell you to open it up and I'm going to see what this is going to do. And when you read posts in Reddit, people are already seeing kind of the degradation in memory, the context windows, and you're already starting to see the lessons learned that we had kind of with LLMs themselves, right, and automation this past year, where you need memory, persistent memory, RAG, you need tooling, so you need an MCP access. So we started building that infrastructure for automation. We're definitely going to see the exact same things happen with local AI or AI assistants, predominantly like with Ishi and Openclaw being kind of the one taking center stage. But I put all of this stuff out there. My next step then was to really figure out what I needed to do holistically to help out the community here, right? Because this is about Ishi and AgenticFlow predominantly. So what I really wanted to do was then focus on how I can help our community overall. And so this is the GitHub I dropped a little bit earlier, just for mine, talking about the 5 pillars that I have for AI Safe 2, the sanitize, isolate, talking about the individual controls are in there, assets and examples. So what I did in examples is I have all the Openclaw data, configuration scanners and stuff for those folks that want to do that. But what I started to build out was also for Ishi. I looked at the top use case implementations. So I have, a 10-minute hardening guide, troubleshooting. I also started to talk through kind of what I think the space will become. So from a, command and control perspective in the military, you always have somebody up top, and then you have delegates down to an operational tier, and then the operational tier delegates down to people that execute and do things. And so I see that, in our space where Ishi's at the top. Eventually, I would see kind of Ishi having a second tier, right? Being able to delegate inside of Ishi to, multiple systems inside of a business, right? And then when it comes to execution, we leverage Openclaw because of its learning, its adaptability, its non-deterministic ability to just learn. And we turn that open, and then we turn it off or on as we need it, per se, right? So I kind of tried to put together some steps looking at it from a dominant platform, not from a Mac perspective, right? Because everybody's talking about, oh, you got to get Mac minis, you got to get Mac stuff. It's all the Mac people out there. So I just wanted to kind of buck the trend a little bit and say, let's look at it from a Windows perspective, because that's what most people probably own.
Yes.
In reality.
Yes.
And so I talk about how to integrate Ishi and Openclaw together, what that architecture is going to look like, how the phases, the steps, kind of trying to walk through that. So I started trying to document what that would look like. So from a community perspective, absolutely give me feedback. Tell me what's wrong, what's right, what didn't work for you, so I could try to help. From a security perspective, figure out how to make AI Safe 2 kind of that central pillar that shows that differentiation for our ecosystem, right? And we rise above the folks that are just blasting stuff out there, but we are much more methodical in our perspective, right, and how we think, right? Because we've invested a huge amount of time and effort in AgenticFlow in getting that to be effective for us. And then personal AI, the team saw that trend coming, had already started with Ishi, right? And then it blows up. So then they've got to address that head on. And that's why, from my perspective, I wanted to hit it head on too, from a security standpoint, so I could give the community something to protect themselves, right? Openclaw has allowed us to learn a ton, right? It's great from an onboarding perspective. It asks tons of questions. It's self-learning. It kind of walks that user through. So it has that very addictive nature of that initial, chatting with something, right? And it just sucks you in, and then it just starts doing things for you, right? But without those guardrails, without putting it in a box and securing it, we're kind of leaving it out there in the open. So I think that's kind of a big issue. So I just wanted to let people know that I do have things for integration. I do have a dedicated memory or a skill for Ishi, as well as an overall skill too that can be implemented directly into AgenticFlow. So I have a larger one right in the root of the GitHub down here at the bottom, a skill MD.
Vincent, I think we still at the Openclaw screen.
And the Openclaw screen?
Yeah, the Openclaw GitHub screen. You are still sharing the Openclaw GitHub.
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing that one, and then thank you.
Welcome.
Is it?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think we.
There we go. Sorry about that. Well, then let me do a quick rewind and show you up here in examples what I was talking about. Right, there's the Openclaw documentation here for Openclaw, and then I've got the Ishi folder with a use case guide, so over 30 use cases, and how to use Ishi and Openclaw. So it's a combined guide. It's not just for Openclaw. It's really designed for Ishi leveraging Openclaw, was how I wrote that. Kind of following this integration guide, dedicated memory, the scanner for it, troubleshooting, that I thought might be helpful for everybody. And then the Openclaw documentation specifically, and then down at the end or at the bottom of the GitHub repository is a dedicated skill that I built for kind of AgenticFlow itself that can also be leveraged inside of Ishi. And then I built a dedicated one too, so we can see how either of those kind of pan out and frame the environment to try to help people out. But I wanted to make sure, and this is a very thorough documentation because I wanted to make sure it captured everything inside of my framework, so all 128 controls, and then really trying to help you look at everything from a holistic, bounded standpoint. So that's kind of, I think, a big perspective in there. And then let's see, I talked about those things. Wanted to share a couple of presentations that I put together as well to try to capture some stuff. So hopefully folks can see this. So really trying to, looking at the big picture, right, with Ishi and AI Safe 2, to frame that. So one of the trends that I see happening is now that we have this autonomous thing in Openclaw, the reason why you're seeing a lot of the big influencers and folks out there jump onto this gravy train is because they see this as their dream moment. The big, big thing in the sky that everybody's reaching for is to become that first solo founder to reach $1 billion. And that is one of the most underlying, themes coming out of Silicon Valley that they want to promote, is that anyone can become a billionaire leveraging AI. That's kind of their underlying motto. And all of the influencers see this as that ticket because it can go off and do stuff for them and they can be more productive. So there's a lot of people in there, and that's that Jarvis fantasy you kind of see here on that slide. In reality, though, they're going to have, and the reason I offset that with kind of the enterprise pieces. Enterprises, the MIT study said 95% of them fail, and that's because usually of several things. It's because their processes aren't really documented the way they actually are. They actually work because there's a lot of human involvement in them. Their data is also not clean. Their platform switching, their data archive switching, their database switching to build these reports that say that they're automated, but they're actually not. It's a lot of human intervention, copy paste that's happening. So a lot of automated systems can't work inside of those environments. And then it's the overall aspect of humans, still want to be in the center of the attention, right? That's why they're there in that organization. So they're not leveraging the technology. So it's failing, right, at a 95% rate. Whereas a solo entrepreneur, the smaller folks, the smaller organizations who have good processes or new processes or no process can leverage AI and see all these bountiful things. There's still an underlying level of issues and challenges for them, but they're cherry picking, right? So a lot of your influencers are cherry picking the things that are really exciting to them. They're leaving all the chaff or the issues that they have down below the line, because that doesn't serve the hype factor, the FOMO aspect of things that's really taking off with Openclaw, right? And so that's why I say it's the chaos monster, right? We mentioned a few of those things earlier, but why they're losing, control in the monolithic piece, right? They've got the honeymoon period. The big thing that I see is that token usage we talked about, but then drift. So as their bots increase complexity, internal complexity on itself, because it's just one bot, right, that's doing a whole bunch of things, so they're just relying on one system to control everything. It's constantly increasing complexity, like technical complexity, and then their content. So their way of doing business gets 10x more complicated, right? And then they're going to have a problem, and that's kind of what we're getting at here, right? And that's where you need to have an architecture in place, first and foremost. And that's where I see kind of Ishi being that brain, AI Safe 2 being your shield, right? And Openclaw being our hands. And that's kind of the overall framework that I see. The advantages with AI Safe 2 for those that are really interested in security or have to deal with compliance in any sort of fashion in any industry is that I've mapped it to everything. Literally everything I've mapped it to. I've mapped it to NIST, I've mapped it to ISO, I've mapped it to MITRE, I've mapped it to the PCI compliance, HIPAA, SOC 2, the Google standard, whole bunch of like the, was it OSWAP, anything that can be out there that's a standard that's even talking about AI, I've mapped AI Safe 2 into all of that. So you don't have to look at any of those others. If you want to know where your compliance is, that AI Safe 2 takes care of that for you. So from a compliance standpoint, I wanted to make sure that that happens, right? From an architecture standpoint, you know, from a governed system standpoint, this was just like one example of walking you through kind of what it would look like from a risk standpoint versus governed. You know, having those steps, having the human in the loop, you know, having Ishi control your data, being the central place where it all sits, issuing commands, issuing directives to Openclaw doing the activity, spinning up other agents to do specific things, only giving it specific skills, putting in guardrails, restricting what it has access to, pulling that back. And then one of the things that we came up with was ghost files. So it doesn't commit anything until we, as the human, have approved it. So once we approve it, then it gets validated and logged, and then we capture that. The other big thing is we've got to understand and be able to audit everything. So why did the agent do it? What did it do? Have those logs available so that when something does go wrong or something unexpected happens, you can go back and find out what actually happened. Like how many tokens did it burn? What did it burn it on? What did it actually say? What were the results of that? So you can go back and look at it for yourself and figure out where the issue might have come. Like, did it actually achieve the objective and it didn't transfer everything over? Did it incorrectly format it? Because that happens all the time, right? Did it not structure the JSON correctly? Did it not do these other outputs correctly? That happens normally just in an LLM today, let alone when we introduce automation and then kind of the agentic self-learning aspect of things. So we've kind of address it from the memory aspects, vulnerability, and then the control with the gateway. I've got my checklist out there. We're definitely on the horizon of swarms and supply chain attacks. That's already starting to happen with all the Openclaws that exist out there. People are figuring out how to inject, do prompt injections into that or take them over. Soon those will be turned into bot networks that will execute at scale as well. I mean, I'm thinking in a week or so, that's going to be an article headline on Hacker News. Definitely, right? So we want to go from the ungoverned aspects to a governed space with Ishi and AI Safe 2. We want to kind of reduce our risks, increase your ability to accomplish objectives, and kind of go from there. So that's pretty much everything that I had for the most part, I think, kind of captured in here. The use cases I think are helpful because I tried to pull the top 30 use cases that most people were having, kind of injected some additional ones that I thought were useful, probably, and we'll continue to enhance that. So I'll open for questions, Sean, if you have any from what I've covered thus far, and see if anybody else has any as well.
Yeah, so let me check on this one. So right now thanks Vincent. So firstly, thanks for coming in and also sharing your view about the I mean, firstly is Ishi, and also second one is the Openclaw, which is the latest. Because Vincent and I have a discussion like a couple of weeks ago when we first learned Ishi, and how he see that it can be part of like a solution that leverage his framework of AI Safe 2 to build a lot. And actually, when we are monitoring the usage of Ishi over a month, we saw a lot of like use case that evolve. So originally, we were thinking that Ishi is only using to creating agent and workflow on AgenticFlow. But after that, when we are having, and we noticed that there's a pattern that people is using that for coding, where people is building things that not in the in a AgenticFlow ecosystem, because the power of this one is Ishi is on their machine, so it's attached to their laptop. It can clean up their download folder and desktop and so on. And I believe that especially when we are dealing with coding, then we need to have a security framework to ensure things work well. And what the question that I would like to ask you is, in AI safe, that you emphasize that moving security from checklist into a system. So what problem were you are trying to fix that existing AI security approach that cannot solve? And with AI safe 2, you should solve it very easily. Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest one is governance. So from a governance perspective, you have policies, you have documents that say you're supposed to do a whole bunch of things. There's also all these frameworks that exist out there that say you're supposed to do a whole bunch of stuff, but they're not engineered certainty, meaning that I say I have to do a whole bunch of things, but if you have to spend more than 10 minutes trying to figure out that we actually do any of that stuff in our systems, especially in AI, then you've automatically failed because there's a gap. There's an engineering gap in terms of that. So there's nothing that actually tells me exactly how to do that, how to strategy all the way down to tactics. In an AI, that's all being prompted and engineered and outsourced, and there's a whole bunch of different layers in there, but at the end of the day, it has to translate specifically. And so AI Safe 2 is a way to kind of do that, so that you can then go back to the compliance people, the governance people, and say, yes, I implemented everything, and then here's my report that shows everything that we did, right? Here's my current gaps, here's the limitations that I have, here's the things that don't apply based on your policies and guidance on the systems that we actually do use. These things don't apply. These things do, however, and you didn't even address them, but I addressed them because I'm using a framework that allows me to do that at speed and at scale of these systems in line with the AI itself, not something that's bolted on. So a PDF is not going to save you in terms of things. And that's kind of one of the biggest areas that I wanted to address in the space, was kind of that. So I think I can, let me see if I can show you something real quick that I think will resonate a little bit more, is that kind of trying to showing, here's all the things, this is what we're doing, this is your outputs, right, from a pretty graphic standpoint. But one of the things I want, let me show, where is that? I went by it too fast. Right here. Yeah, right, from a compliance standpoint, here's everything that I'm aligned or cover at 100% in terms of everything that I'm focused on. And the biggest thing is, from a deterministic zero trust standpoint at the end of the day, is that whatever we're doing now has to be native. And that's where everybody was going, because what's been proven in the security space is probabilistic defense, meaning I have to know it exists before I can defend against it, no longer applies in AI, because I can infinitely dream up infinity with AI and change everything instantly, which means probabilistic defense is useless, relatively useless. So signatures, making sure you're updated, making sure you're patched, all of those traditional cybersecurity things from a defensive standpoint that people say, I have signatures, I detect when something happens, right? All of that stuff is, those defenses become almost worthless, and you have to flip it, and you have to go from the other perspective and be deterministic zero trust, trust and verify, build in it from an engineering standpoint, your infrastructure, architecture, and build engineering certainty from the beginning. So you have to start from the beginning before you do stuff, and engineer all of those controls in right away. Otherwise, you're basically saying it's allowed to happen. Space, and really trying to drive into the AI side is to help folks that are leveraging it. Plus, I want to use it too, right? Everybody wants to use this stuff, but I want to use it safely. And because I'm paranoid and have too much security background and operationally minded for 20 years in the military, I have a certain way of thinking that I need to have certain things in place before I start executing. And that means having a thorough plan, having that plan risk tested, red teamed, war gamed, validated, looked at by peers or whatever, right? This community, validate those things, and then start to implement and execute at slow, small scales to validate stuff, and then go larger from there, right? Which is the exact opposite of the influencer community, right? They go big, hard, early, and then they go backwards because they run into a whole bunch of issues that they will never talk about, which is doing everything correctly in the first place.
Yeah, so I understand that it's going to be not like security reactive, but more about security by design. When we are building them, it's already baked in. So it's leading to my question. So why you are designing AI safe tool as a framework instead of like a tool or a product?
One, I wanted to put it out there to battle test it. So part of the best battle test is getting feedback from everybody.
Okay.
I wanted to make the framework available for everybody. As from a tool standpoint, yeah, I am trying to work on a tool, but I can't do it all in terms of things. And we've got to, get this stuff out there because if we waited for me to build something, probably be a while before I get something that's, tested, validated, secure, those types of things, unless I try to vibe code something, right, and push it out there instantly. We've got to make it a little bit different. But I wanted to make the framework open source so we get the best and brightest of everybody to look at it and make sure that they could leverage it the way they want to, right? Because I may build a tool that doesn't meet their needs.
I believe,
right, or not look at it correctly
in a very right spot. So right, so Openclaw is actually capturing attention. This is like another ChatGPT moment, right? And it's have been hacked, and 1,000 or maybe 100,000 people is going to get hacked easily with the certain threshold. So if we can actually prove a use case that we can help them control their personal agent safer, then I believe that is going to be a great use case. Okay. I saw that. Is it okay now, Mr. BCman? I think there's some lagging or the audio. Anyway, the YouTube should be back already. I just sharing the screen again. Is the audio is okay? Yeah, give me one moment. Ulrich, Scorpio. Yeah. So I just noticed there's a chat in Discord. Let me share this one on this one so that you can also see it as well. So we have people in Discord. Okay, so let's put from here. So this is you should see the screen from my side, and also wait. Let also put on YouTube. So let's move to the sharing section. So we have the some questions. So we have Scorpio, we have Mr. PC Man. So I think this is the open part. So if you have any question for Vincent, please drop to the group so that we can read that together. Or yeah, just typing. So while we're waiting for the typing, I'm going to ask the next question. Like, with the viral of Openclaw, actually we are going to onboarding a millions of agents that will have access to files and tool and run unattended. So which pillar of AI safe that becoming the most critical for AI agent?
Pillar one, the kind of the isolate, I think, is definitely probably the first big one, really.
You want to share
this? My cheat sheet or whatever, right? I think that one monitoring as well. So pillar one, sanitize and isolate, obviously is a big one. And then fail-safe recovery. I mean, they're all kind of interlooped. It depends on your use case, and so that's where I've got some papers and some analysis of the 34 use cases. Which pillars specifically does each use case kind of hit? A lot of them hit all 5. Some of them only hit like 2 or 3, but most of them hit multiple of the pillars themselves. Number 1 is probably going to be the biggest one right out of the gate, because we need to sanitize and isolate, from that perspective, and then build in the guardrails from there. How do we look at it? How do we kind of audit it, inventory it? What is it doing? How do we monitor it, engage? How does that evolve? And then how do we continue to learn from that, like the educate piece?
Yeah.
And from places like this, engagements like this, how do we kind of, improve it so that, the version 2.2 or 3.0, the next one that ends up getting released for AI Safe 2, incorporates a lot of lessons learned that we have from the personal AI space. So that I think a lot of those issues are kind of addressed inside of that. I think the next iteration will probably have a large portion of things that'll kind of happen inside of there. But it's kind of, I built it so that it kind of all works kind of in a general loop.
Understood. Okay, I think that is really, really great insight from your end on isolation and sanitation, especially on Openclaw and those agents, right? Unlike AgenticFlow, where we are hosted in Central, so we are hosted in AWS, and we are follow all of the AWS security practice, and we are kind of like a little bit better, or even better than normal enterprise application. But for Openclaw, they are like Wild West, right? You just install, you open your port to over internet, anyone can access to your agent, send access, and take over the entire computer. And that's crazy that people actually, they are giving the entire life to Openclaw, including like iMessage, so that the Openclaw agent can talk to their wife on behalf of them. How crazy is that, right? It's just, I don't know. The hype is getting people really go out of hand on this area. And I think let me move on, because I think we have Mr. PC Man here, and he is also working in the government for a long period. And maybe he also have some question that he would like to ask. So I just share the screen again so that maybe you can read the question. Yeah, Mr. PC Man, you just feel free to drop. I would read out loud the question when he's typing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe it take a bit time to type on this part. Yeah. So the question from Vincent is that Vincent, is your tool or code start from Windows level, including subnet or port level?
It's focused on let's say I have to remember, I haven't looked at it the past day or there, so but it's looking at it from the communication standpoint. So it's definitely at the port level and the gateway, and kind of trying to lock all that down from that perspective, from a gateway, so that all, kind of like how Ishi has the gateway. What it really was saying is, I drew another gateway around Ishi, right? I drew another gateway around Openclaw, and I put my own gateway in there, so that anything coming out of that system has to go through my gateway, and then has to go through my controls before then it can go to the next step. I'm inside of there. And then my intent is to then have, also then there's that gateway is to Ishi, right? And then from Ishi out is I want to have another gateway, right? From there. So it's kind of like a multi-tiered perspective. I don't think I've finished it, but I was looking at it from that standpoint as well. So that it's, we add that next layer of security, right? So it's defense in depth perspective, engineering that in from the beginning, and then making sure that things aren't written or deleted or changed overtly. And so that's where it came up with kind of the ghost file perspective, where it shares a file, but that file isn't written until it's verified or signed off by the human. So Openclaw executes its task, provides the solution answer back to Ishi. Ishi then presents that to us as the owner. The owner then reviews the task right, and approves, provides feedback, kicks it back, right, or denies it outright. And then if it's denied, then that file's never exists, right? It's not written, the action's not taken, whatever it was that we wanted it to do doesn't happen. If we approve it, then it moves to Ishi for execution, right? Ishi then looks at it, is that a task I've been approved for locally now? Or is that a task that I then push to AgenticFlow because this is an automation that I want to, or process that we want to make more deterministic, right? So it's probabilistic being, hey, I'm trying to figure it out down below with Openclaw. More, Ishi's determining and that, deciding that from a decision standpoint, helping us frame that, and then deciding that, and then working with us to then execute kind of that pillar with AgenticFlow so that we make it a deterministic or a proven path so that when it executes, right, we know what that result is going to be, right? That expectation of a consistent result. And that's one of the other reasons why enterprises fail at leveraging AI, because they're not really looking at it like that. And then everything internally is so, non-consistent.
True.
Right. So we want to kind of make that path for us, from our decision points up, and making that deterministic through AgenticFlow or other automation systems that we leverage, so that that path is available for those folks from that perspective. And then it gives us those answers, and that comes back into, the daily reports or the reports, helping me with my website or cold outreach or marketing or, designing flyers or helping me put together a YouTube video with thumbnails, right? Or auto editing, office hours, 39 for me. So I get clips so I can do shorts with it, and I can get the stuff, across social media platforms, those types of things, right? So we build that stuff in there, experiment, finalize, validate, right, and then productionize it.
True.
And that's kind of how I see that flow that we have, and that Ishi will definitely help with as we do that. And I look at AgenticFlow as that's our machine, that's production machine that we want to make it leave as pristine as possible, and get it finalized so that we know that that's the gold standard with everything, right? Things that are executing inside of there are what we want.
Yeah, it's also I like the way that we are putting the ghost fly and also the glass box, right? So we don't want to build a black box of magic, right? We would like to build a glass box so that we know that what is inside. So next question from Mr. PC Man is that if Openclaw attempts something, can it be caught or controlled by the human? How we do that?
So leveraging the three things. So firstly, if Openclaw is trying to do stuff, we corrupt its memory right out of the gate with the AI Safe 2 memory approach, meaning that it has to operate inside the guardrails and the concerns that we've pre-identified for it. That I put into the memory thing, and then you can also look and see if we want to apply other things from the skill that I have also developed and the framework. So you have a lot of baseline upon which to work with there, but it's just getting that in there, and then that stops the memory, that stops it kind of from thinking that it can do those things in the first place. So those things aren't happening. Second is then we look at the scanner results and say, based on the scanning, this is what I'm seeing. Here's your vulnerabilities that I am identifying right now. And then as we're learning what more and more of these Openclaws are doing, right, we kind of identify and we look for those things, or we offer up and say, hey, maybe you want to include that in the scanner as well, right? So we do another round with the scanner and get it more optimized, identifying more things, getting it, better usage per se, right? And the third is the gateway. So stopping it completely, right? Having that no-go button that's built on the AI Safe 2 framework, built on our guardrails of, security, safety, governance, privacy, and control. And those 5 things then allow us to then make sure that it's not going to happen. Then you can also, inside of Openclaw, you can make sure that it doesn't have the skills. So if it doesn't have the skill, it can't execute the task. If it doesn't have access to an MCP server or the API keys or an email or the actual things to do the task, then it can't do that task either. And then isolating your agents inside of Openclaw. So making sure that when you tell it to do stuff, you say, hey, I want you to spin up a new agent that has this specific skill that can only do these specific things, guardrailed by the AI Safe 2 memory, right? On top of, then reviewing it with other things. And then in the Ishi version, I have it monitoring everything Openclaw is doing. So it's porting back and getting that information back, and it's monitoring what Openclaw is doing from those perspectives. So I'm watching the transactions, I'm watching the skills, I'm watching the agents, I'm watching what it's doing. And if it's going outside of those bounds, then it immediately has the ability to, we can immediately have the ability to turn it off, right? Or isolate it, right? Or just to nuke that agent. Say like, hey, you're out of your bounds. Why did you do that? Well, you've been turned off.
Yes.
Right. That could be the most extreme thing that can happen there. But you want to have those are the ways that I've put it in there today. So out of the box, that's what you get with the Openclaw stuff. And then on top of that, I added a wrapper with all the Ishi stuff, which is designed specifically for having Openclaw, controlling Openclaw. So not only did I want to harden Ishi even more than what it is now, but then I wanted to give it control over Openclaw and then add that extra layer of defense so that, because we're not 24/7 staring at it, right? We need to have some delegated controls, something else with that, with some guardrails in place, and then working through trying to figure that out and setting all that stuff up. And so that's kind of the way I've designed it and built it. And so the rest of the week is then fine tuning that. And I'm sure Sean will have some other ideas on what he's going to do based on the discussions and other things that I've pushed to him and ideas that I've pushed to him.
Yeah.
On stuff that Ishi can do as well too, from that standpoint. But from an AI Safe 2 perspective today, that's what you have the capability to do right now to help protect yourself.
Yeah, true. So I think AI Safe 2 is serving a great framework of security, and also Vincent put a very nicely detailed guideline on how Ishi can work with Openclaw and really similar runtime agent. And actually, we take a step ahead to enhance. And also, I would like to show everyone where Ishi is going. So AgenticFlow and Ishi is working hand in hand. AgenticFlow always the core platform, and we have a small team that working on Ishi that having people to build agent more fastly. For example, we are seeing a really 10x improvement in the number of agents that created in AgenticFlow just because Ishi is helping people to build that easier. And now we have the ability that we can build it safer with AI Safe 2. So let me show you how you can find out the AI Safe 2 and how you can use it in Ishi. So Vincent, allow me to share my screen and sharing about that. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to move to the next one. So I'm going to wait. So where's my screen? So okay, let me put this one. So we talked about this one already. So next one, what we would like to talk about is this one. Oops. Is it showing? No.
Yeah, I see it now.
Maybe you see it, but people is on YouTube is not seeing it. So let me also stop and sharing again on that one, because the one they are seeing picture in picture. Yeah, same on Discord. So what we are doing is that Openclaw, or maybe later an AI and so on, is considered as a AI magic in a black box that we don't know. But we are doing the glass box of AI. So Ichi is going to be evolved as a command center, mission control, where we can control your AI workforce that can be sitting in your home, your computer, or maybe inside your network. And with the enhancing of the AI Safe 2, we believe that we have a bounding box that we will building this glass box safer in a security standpoint, because we have a Vincent as a security expert that allow us to leverage his expert. And very lucky for us that Vincent published his work and the framework for open source. And this is really great that we can leverage on this one and implement in Ishi. So let me switch into Ishi now, and also we'll show you where you can find that. Okay. So let me switch this one. Stop. Share again. Windows. Okay, you will see Ishi. Okay, this one on Discord as well. Okay, on Discord you should see my screen. I also share on here so that that Vincent can also see my screen when I'm talking. Okay, so I hope that everyone will look at my Ishi now. So in order to see AI Safe 2, you basically go into agent skill, and then you will see that AI Safe 2 Secure Build Pilot is already number 2 in the build catalog. So you just click one button, and then you equip that Ishi with this framework already. And then you can use it exactly by starting conversation on this area. So basically, right now I haven't got chance to test. We just add that into the catalog. But in the next couple of days, perhaps that we can also collaborate with Vincent to release a kind of like a tutorial as a blog post with screenshot and so on. So Rick, you're also on the call. So please have to reach out to Vincent if you have some difficulty to creating a tutorial. So we are hoping that we can give you a tutorial both on the blog post and also video so that you can use AI Safe 2 in order to validate some of the, for example, like website. Because I noticed that there's some people that using AgenticFlow, no, not using Ishi for coding, and the things that outside of AgenticFlow. Okay, so that is where you can find in this one. I'm happy to have the first because I think if you do not know yet, Vincent is also one of our AgenticFlow customer. He's also even having MAS as well. So he very deep into the ecosystem, and this is kind of like the things that he give back to the community, and he would like us to improve. And I'm really appreciate and deeply, I would like to thank Vincent again for giving me guidance and also this one. And I hope that we can promote AI Safe 2 to more people and in the community. All right. So next one, I would like to echo what Vincent brought up with the Safe 2. So how you see that? Okay, so this is what we building in Ishi in the last couple of days. So what you can see in Ishi now is that you will have a mission control. So mission control is something that you can control a remote Openclaw instance. You can see everything that instant is doing. The agent, your personal agent, currently unsecure, but with Ishi, you can see how many token that they spend. You can see, so my Openclaw agent is spending around like 8 million token for reading and output something and cash about 50 million token. He cost me a bit of money, right, in this one to run the agent and so on, and how many section is running and what is the workforce. So in here I have only one device and operator, which is my MacBook, but actually we can scale it up further, depends on how we need it. And we need a command center. Ishi is going to be command center, and it's going to help you to monitor and control everything, including the uses of which model that we equip to an agent like Openclaw. And the most important thing is that you can also monitoring how many agent that is doing and what is their result. For example, like my setup of like Openclaw, I have 4 agents that doing different things, and they are using the OpenAI codex, GPT-5.2 codex, because actually it is on device. So the reason why we are a trend of 2026 is going to on device, because on the device, so you can use your ChatGPT Plus subscription with only $20, and you can get a maximum amount of intelligence that you have. The reason why, because VC company, they are sponsoring and they subsidizing those costs for you, and you just pay for $20 and you can use a lot of place, and this is really safe for you, all right, and a lot of money that can have. And you can from my Ishi account, I can actually talk to my Openclaw agent, say, hey, I'm with my community. Can you say hi to community? So it's just a similar like what you are chatting to Ishi today. You can chat with your Openclaw agent, and they will start to do and respond on this area. Okay, and I'm not sure why is it. Okay, please respond. Hey community, hope everyone doing great today. Can you help to um, um, creating a website with hello world? And so because Openclaw is having its own computer, so he can do a lot of things. He can writing code. You can see like you can talk to the AI and open. Can you create on your machine? So you can instruct it, and because Openclaw can chat on Discord and so on as well. So that is technically something that you can leverage on, and you can continue in Ishi. So just do it. Can you just run it? Okay. So I can instruct it from the other side. So the server is running on localhost. Actually, I'm another machine, so I cannot see. Okay, mode back check is due. Okay, there's something. Okay, the server is here, it's connected. But so basically, what we already integrated and have you is that you can access Openclaw from one single instance of Ishi. Ishi is evolved, so Ishi still have the way that you can chat to our agent as per normal, but you can also using Openclaw as a new remote agent. Yeah, regardless, like you have one Openclaw gateway or other, you can control from one location, which is Ishi. Okay. Yeah. So I think there's a next question from like Bijou, right? How to connect Openclaw to EC safely? And also, how can Ishi and Openclaw can be different desktop to connect to each other? So I already show you, right? You don't need two desktop on this one. You can use Ishi to connect to Openclaw and talk to Openclaw, because Openclaw and Ishi we consider as just two different runtime, and Ishi app is designed to talk to multiple runtime. So Ishi runtime is the one that on your computer and using like AgenticFlow AI agent and also the credit and so on. And Openclaw is actually another client that you can talk to, and you just delegating tasks. And how you can connect. So in a new version of the Ishi, you will have the ability to go to setting, you go to connection, and then you can just follow the instruction in the step in the connection in here to connect to any of the Openclaw instance that you deploy. Either is it on your computer, on your laptop, or any area that you have. Okay, so that I hope that it answered the question from issue. So next question from Mr. PC Man is so this is a question from Mr. PC Man that maybe come back to you, Vincent. So yeah, AI safety is really good. So it look like can pass the Microsoft Azure Zero Trust guideline. Wow. Okay.
Directly, which AI can definitely help us do really quickly. So I can look at that from the Microsoft perspective and provide that answer probably in the next iteration of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely get you there. The intent is to build it from a zero trust standpoint out of the gate, and then to leverage the rest of the stuff that I do. So I run an MSSP that has endpoint protection, and that's one of the problems I had with Ishi right out of the gate was that Ishi was an unknown file, and I couldn't run it on my endpoint. I couldn't. Like it would go through all its steps. It would show it to me like it was running. So I had to work through getting that executable validated, scanned and tested in controlled environments and by my SOC team to validate it as a trusted executable and get that added. And then once it was added, then I could get it to run. So that's one of the things from a framework perspective I preach from the ground up is that my endpoints are protected from that standpoint from unknown files, even being able to execute, right? So if Ishi or Openclaw is trying to grab stuff from the internet and it finds stuff, or if it hits a website that has, malware embedded into it and it's surfing it, that malware code, regardless of whether or not it's myself or the executable AI agents won't be allowed to execute on my hardware platform regardless. It's not going to be able to, kind of turn off. It can't do anything. It can't do a kernel bypass. All of those risks from an advanced threat perspective don't work on my endpoint. So that's kind of my foundational point. And then I have a bunch of other systems from a zero trust standpoint that I work with, from a network standpoint, from an application user standpoint, providing zero trust on top of applications and systems, and then architecting everything based on all the things that I've done, from running, kind of the Air Force wide area network directly from a NOC perspective on a day-to-day basis for several years, to running the global networks and applying all of those things that I learned at US Cyber Command and in the DoD, taking all those zero trust concepts, and then that's how I look at kind of building a digital shield. So that's kind of how I look at everything, right? I look at it through the lens of Warden, where it auto contains instantly, building the rest of your zero trust architecture that stops things, right? And then everything else. The one note that I would add is most zero trust architectures are focused on the user. And the reason they're focused on the user is because that's Microsoft's world, right? They own the users, and everybody overly focuses on them, because every cybersecurity vendor out there has already given away the fact that they can't stop unknown code from executing, which I don't have a problem with, right? So my approach is different from a zero trust standpoint, right? It's not focused necessarily on the users. Well, I do, right? And then I do that in AI Safe too. It's focused on all the non-human users. That's a huge issue. I've written several articles about that, and that's what in my last version 2.1, I specifically called out a control for non-human users interfaces, right? Because that's what's happening right now, right? The explosion of that. I think people are clocking the number at 150, right? That's going to go to end of the year. That's going to be 5 digits to 1, right? 6 digits to 1. The amount of swarms and things that are going to exist in the space at the end of this year is going to be stupid in terms of numbers, right? We're not going to be able to comprehend them based on everything. If scale and speed happens the way last year did, that's what I would anticipate generally thinking, right? And so I have also additional reports and annual reports looking at that, specifically being released. They'll be publishing here in the next few weeks, and then looking at every category of risk and then how I look at that. But that's how I look at the space from a zero trust standpoint, a little bit differently than some of the other folks based on my experiences.
Yeah, thanks.
Great question.
Yeah, that is a really deep question on that, and I hope that this is wow. I think Mr. PC Man is also really appreciate that as well. Yeah, so I think that is great for us to have you in here, and because we also being around in the community, so I hope that we can work together on this one. And okay, Mr. Specimen just say he will definitely do check out, and also can go in detail to implement his zero trust. I believe that you can also fight each other in our Discord as well. So perhaps that we can definitely can arrange a next follow-up section, and maybe I can invite Vincent back in a month or so, for example, in case that we have, or maybe at the time that he have released the next version of AI Safe 2, or maybe some people that would like to learn more about how to apply it into day-to-day. So I'm glad that you have here today, and thank you for saving time, and thanks everyone that are on the meet as well, and thanks for staying until the very end. And I think that's also reaching to the end of the office hour 38. So just I will put a recap of the video on YouTube of this one, so that there will be no missing. And thanks, Vincent, again for having with us.
Yeah, Sean, I appreciate it. Oh, one last thing, right? I did make the Ishi instructions so that it could deploy the Openclaw security guidelines for you.
Okay.
Right. So that was kind of my intent. I don't know if I annotated that, but I just want to make sure that folks, right, we're not all security people. I realize that even I don't want to necessarily have to do all that stuff. So I wanted to make sure that Ishi could do that for you. So that was the intent behind those instructions. So definitely take a look at that and see if that works for you. If you run into issues, let me know. because I want to make sure that this is as easy as possible for you to leverage and use, depending on what your requirements are.
Yeah, I believe that this is definitely something that's cool. So because what is the next thing of Ishi is that we are thinking like perhaps we can put about the um, managed service for Openclaw, for example. So just in case that we can help people to one-click deployment into Openclaw agent into AgenticFlow cloud, and it's going to following the best practice and also scanning through the AI Safe 2 framework. So ensure that we are not open things that supposed not to be open, and we can isolate it them, but we still give them enough space to work. So we are going to build a glass box, and definitely we can catch up offline on talk on this one. And yeah, so I think that's it. So thanks everyone for your time, and thanks Vincent for joining with us today. Yeah. Also, this is the first time that we invite something or someone on the office hour officially, and I hope that we can resume in this one. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Look forward to
Vincent.
the next one. Bye, folks.
Thanks. Bye bye. Thanks, Vincent. Yeah, let me drop. Yeah, let me drop on that as well. Okay, I will talk to you later on this, Vincent, and bye bye. Bye. Thanks, everyone.